The 5 days to the Presidential National Assembly election, and we're counting down as Nigerians prepare to vote. Well, INEC has for the second time extended the deadline for the collection of permanent voter cards, and this will go on until the 5th of February. Thanks for joining us. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Remember that you can join the program live using the hashtag TVC Countdown 2023. It's the 7th successive general election in Nigeria's 23 years of unbroken democracy. I think it was Barack Obama, former president of the United States, who once said, Nigeria needs strong democratic institutions and not strong men. For INEC, the commission says it's on top of its game, crossing the T's and dotting the I's to ensure a hitch-free process nationwide. For the first time, the Electoral Commission will hold a mock accreditation exercise this Saturday. And you may wonder, is that really necessary? Well, the answer is yes, because INEC is counting on the BVAS to enhance the integrity of this particular exercise. The bimodal voter accreditation system, popularly called the BVAS, will be subjected to more tests ahead of the days designated for the election to hold. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, INEC chairman, has engaged resident electoral commissioners and made it clear that mock accreditations will be held in 436 polling units nationwide. Let's tell you what we know about the BVAS.
The bimodal voter accreditation system is an electronic device introduced by Independent National Electoral Commission in 2021, backed by the Electoral Act 2022. This technology is designed to verify the permanent voter's card and enable human recognition through a biometric verification mechanism using both fingerprint and facial recognition of voters. How does BVAS work? BVAS plays an important role in verifying the genuineness of voters' cards and authenticating voters during accreditation. The device works by scanning the barcode, QR code, on the PVC voters register or entering in the last 6 digits of the voter identity number or typing in the last name of the voter by the assistant presiding officer to verify and authenticate voters. Can it be manipulated? With BVAS, INEC has assured Nigerians that elections cannot be manipulated. The design of the electronic device makes it impossible for anyone to tamper with results uploaded to IRIV via BVAS. With the governorship elections held in Anambra, Ekiti, and Osun states, and the recent tribunal judgment on the Osun governorship poll, 744 polling units were found culpable. What more do we know about the device?
Well, INEC says BVAS is the game changer. We're on the streets engaging with many who will be lining up on election day to vote. Let's listen to their comments about this technology.
With the BVAS, citizens can now be able to vote and be sure their vote counts.
It's a bold step, it's a bold move, and as you can see, technology is advancing globally, and it is only wise for us to follow in that path.
It's a twin technology system that takes your facial outlook and your thumbprint and uses it to validate your identity before you are allowed to cast your ballot.
We'll be talking to INEC Commissioner Festus Okoye on all we need to know about the BVAS, particularly its integrity ahead of the much talked about 2023 election. But in the last week, we have heard about the death of a candidate who died close to an election, particularly, I believe, in Abia State. And what's the legal implication of this? We're turning our attention now to the Electoral Act of 2022 as amended, which made provisions for the replacement of a candidate who dies before or during an election. According to Section 33 of the Act, a political party shall not be allowed to change or substitute its candidate whose name has been submitted under Section 29 of this Act, except in the case of death or withdrawal by the candidate. The section further states that in the case of death, the political party of the deceased will have to conduct a primary election within 14 days to produce a fresh candidate, whose name would thereafter be submitted to INEC. And beyond that, the section also states that provided that in the case of such withdrawal or death of a candidate, the political party affected shall within 14 days of the occurrence of the event hold a fresh primary election to produce and submit a fresh candidate to the Commission for the election concerned. Section 34, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act also stipulates, among other things, what will be done. For instance, if after the time for the delivery of nomination paper and before the commencement of the poll, a nominated candidate dies, the Chief National Electoral Commissioner shall, being satisfied of the fact of the death, countermand, meaning cancel the poll in which the deceased candidate was to participate, and the Commission shall then appoint some other convenient date for the election within 14 days. In the case of the death of the governorship candidate of PDP in Abia State, who died on the 25th of January, I spoke earlier with the chairman, Section of Public Interest and Development of the NBA, Monde Obani, and he shared his perspective on this new development.
I think the section that you should take into consideration before 34 is Section 33 of the Electoral Act of 2020. That section gives room for political party to substitute a candidate that has already been submitted in accordance with Section 29 of the Act. Is either the person voluntarily withdraws or there is death. And when there is death, the Section 33 specifically empowers the political party to organize a fresh primary in order to produce a fresh candidate. That has to be done within 14 days. And so what has happened is that Ikone is not yet a winner, is not yet a governor-elect. And so you take away the deputy gubernatorial candidate, so there is no any effect on him, because some people may begin to speculate whether he can step into the governorship position, gubernatorial candidacy of a PDP. No, neither will the first runner-up be allowed to step in. Rather, what the political party should do within 14 days is to organize a fresh primary in which a fresh candidate will emerge. Now, you know that our gubernatorial election will take place in March. So there is no provision, there is no purpose of countermanding any election. Election of Abia will take place the same time that other elections will, because between now and March, all the processes would have been accomplished. Within 14 days, PDP will have to organize a fresh primary and then announce a fresh candidate, and the name will be put on the website of INEC. So before March, his name will be there, and he will go ahead and contest election. I don't think there is any room for countermanding. Countermanding, I think, is only when election is either a day or 2 days to the election.
Lawyer Monde Obani there. Elections are governed by laws, and when it comes to the death of a candidate close to an election, Section 33 and Section 34 of the Electoral Act of 2022 is what comes to mind. But we have a report on what happens when a candidate dies close to election day.
Nigeria's electoral law has been amended 4 times since 1999. The 2022 amendment is far-reaching and more comprehensive than the previous 3. The sudden death of the APC candidate and front-runner in the Kogi State governorship election in 2015, before the announcement of a winner, posed the question without clear answers. It became a matter of litigation that went all the way to Supreme Court. As part of the 2022 amendments, lawmakers gave clear guidelines if a similar situation ever reoccurs.
In Section 34 of the said Act, taking care of issues as it relates to death or resignation of a candidate after he has been nominated. And if a candidate dies before polls commences, the Act has provided what to be done differently.
The death of the Abia State PDP candidate on the 15th of January 2022 is not attracting as much controversy as the Abubakar Aldi situation did in 2015. As shocking as the demise is, the law is clear on what is expected.
What this Act has done helps a great deal in reducing expenses on the part of the government, in reducing, the erstwhile uh, clog that it creates in the wheel of the electoral progress.
The 2022 Electoral Act is not perfect, yet it's a clear improvement on previous editions. It gives clear powers and protection to the Independent National Electoral Commission and would be remembered as one of the worthy legacies of the Muhammadu Buhari administration. Landry Adeyemi, TVC News, Gombe.
And for more on this, I'm joined by a former resident electoral commissioner. Mike Igene is a former resident electoral commissioner in Akwa Ibom State. He joins me live on the countdown. Mr. Igene, thank you for joining us on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right,
Good
so let's get the historical perspective to this amendment in the Electoral Act. For instance, the death of APC governorship candidates in Kogi State, the late Abubakar Audu, and what we saw became a legal bottleneck right after. Would you say that the new act has settled this completely?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. History is always the graveyard for contending opinions. We are in a country where the political elites are always very shifty. Unfortunately, it's when it suits them, they will stand by the truth. And regrettably, that institution to which all must bow, my constituency, on this matter, did not live up to expectation with respect to the historical context that you gave with respect to what happened in Kogi State. That was in 2016. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as rickety as it may be, is very clear with respect to offices of the President, the Vice President, a governor, and deputy governor. Here we are talking about the deputy governor. Under the Constitution, a sitting president who has a deputy, if he dies in office while serving, the deputy takes over. The whole essence of a deputy or a running mate is to ensure that there's no vacuum. Whenever there is any situation, a deputy will step in. That is provided in the Constitution. Now, with what happened in Kogi State, I wrote an opinion as at that time that the fact that the election of Kogi had taken place, what was left was a declaration of the result, at which time the former governor, then candidate of that party, actually passed on. And that under the Constitution, if you had to interpret the requirement for having a running mate, that the running mate of Audu, John Faleke or the House of Rep or so, that as the running mate who was chosen before the opening of the poll, the commencement of the poll, of course, campaign before these steps I'm referring to, and eventually garner all those votes, that unfortunately the death of Audu, it should be that running mate that should step in. That was my opinion that I wrote. Of course, because a matter of adversarial interest, those who were live up, all arguments were on and on. And when they went, because of the fact they now eventually picked somebody who did not participate in the process of having those votes. He basically brought it to inherit. And I said, no, You cannot inherit that vote. If there's anything about, electoral inheritance, it should be the running mate. That was my opinion. And I thought that when the matter went to court, that the court will interpret it that way. Surprisingly, because when they now went for the rerun, in fact, before they went for that rerun, the sitting governor today, the young man, and I like him for his energy, at that time, nominated the former running mate of Audu, who also declined. So as at the time election was the rerun that was conducted, the Faleke of a man said he was not part of it. And under the Constitution, your nomination as a candidate is invalid if you don't have a running mate.
Indeed, Mr. Egidi, it did appear that...
Very quickly.
Yes.
Very quickly. I just need to give this context. Very quickly. That when the matter went to Supreme Court, they decided differently. But today, under the current act, because I need to give you that background, so look at the current act. That under the current act, the opinion I had as at that time is what will be reflected under section 34 and subsection 3 with respect to the proviso that says that in the case of a governorship or presidential, if he dies, the running mate shall continue with the election and nominate a new running mate. That is where we are.
Indeed, Mr. Akini, you're saying that if that happens now, after an election has held, the running mate takes over as winner of that election. But I just wanted to quickly clarify the timing of death and how it affects the cancellation of an election. When you consider what happened in Abia State, it seems we have enough time to have a replacement before this election.
In the case of Abia, ballot paper have not been delivered to the polling unit. That one is straightforward. And I heard somebody who has expressed opinion before I came in. It's very perfectly correct. And that is as what you should go to straight away. There's no argument to make here. Go to section 34, and it's very clear. Within 14 days, the party affected will now conduct a new primary that will lead to the emergence of a new candidate. Thereafter, that candidate will now pick a new running mate, or perhaps may take the other running mate. That is the procedure. Nothing to add to what is already contained in the Electoral Act. This is very clear.
And we expect to see that happen in the next 14 days. Let's talk about the bimodal verification accreditation system very shortly. The question on the lips of many has been, how formidable is this technology, particularly when you consider developments in the recent days? For instance, can the recordings and the content of the BVAS be tampered with after an election?
Straight away, the answer is no. The BVAS, unlike the hard copy register, which is the analog register, that you can easily take as you like, but in the case of the BVAS, you cannot change, alter, or manipulate that process without having to either you destroy it, in which case you must provide evidence of what happened at that polling unit. So straight away, the BVAS is a new technology, which is an offshoot of the smart card reader. And that is why I'm a bit worried and concerned about some of the comments that are largely, uninformed and largely influenced by development in Osun State. Why I comment on this is because this is the device we are going to use in the next few weeks for the forthcoming election. Nigerians, I want to make it clear to you that the BVAS technology is robust, and that is why with the BVAS, it has ended the idea of proxy voting, voting on behalf of people, because it's based on actual people who came. And because their faces, their VIN number will be recorded by the BVAS, unlike the register of voter, which is manual, that anybody can tick, you cannot do anything. Many of you will have recalled that I have said severally that this process is one that even the chairman of INEC, national commissioner, resident commissioner, none can do anything, because it is designed in a way to give the highest level of credibility. And
Indeed.
the primary source, the beauty of the BVAS, is that it remains the foundation, the ultimate primary source to determine issue about what you call accreditation.
I get your point, Mr. Igini.
Therefore,
You're saying that the BVAS cannot be tampered with. You must then be surprised when you're hearing stories of different BVAS reports coming up, synchronized BVAS, they call it.
Let me inform you very quickly. Just let me quickly dismiss that. Let me dismiss that. You know, and I told you, but for the fact that this is a system we are going to use, and if we are not careful, because what has generated interest in our election is because of the BVAS. It has been used for 105 elections. This Osun election makes it 106 or so. This is the first time that the actual operational process is being challenged. And what you hear about discrepancies, please get it right. And I've used the analogy of Akwa Ibom to demonstrate this. If you have, I'm a presiding officer, at the end of election, I am expected to count the ballot papers, then record from the BVAS the total number of accredited voters on the form EC8A, sign it, then give the duplicates to party agents. I'm also expected under Section 60, subsection 4 and 5, to upload this data, accredited data, to the central server and to the cloud. Now, in the process, and the BVAS has also been designed in a way that while I was doing the sorting at the close of the poll, I was doing the sorting and counting, the BVAS is designed to ensure that while it is idle, it will be sending the accredited numbers to the central server. It will be doing that. But however, it is incumbent on myself as a presiding officer that I must ensure that I upload everything to the central server. Now, example here we are giving, we are using 150 as the total number of accredited voters. If during the period of when it was idle, 100 has been uploaded with their VIN number, unique VIN number to the server, and for any reason I fail to, neglect to, upload, it does not invalidate it. It remains there in the memory. However, if yourself, who is speaking to me now, you are a candidate and you are interested in having the report of the server, that was transmitted from when it was idle from the BVAS to the server, first, I have a duty, a responsibility to first ensure that before I give you a certified copy of the report, I give you a report that you are requesting for, I must ensure that each and every polling unit, the presiding officers, even where they fail so, must have done so. Where I fail to do so, and I'm now giving you what you say you are requiring because you need to file, you need to maintain your, what you call your petition.
Okay.
When I'm giving you what is not complete, let's say that, because what we are saying now is 100 that is domiciled there.
It's a good place to leave it, Mr. Guinea. I'm afraid we have to go now.
I don't want to be on this short program because I need to put my thought on this. This is why I don't want this short program, because I need to conclude my thought on that so that I don't.
It's a daily program, Mr. Guinea. Be sure that we'll definitely have you come around some other time. And it is an evolving topic that will definitely stay on. We must say a big thank you. Mike Guinea is a former resident electoral commissioner. in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you for your time. Well, that's our program today. The BVAS issue is developing. We're going to keep following it. We'll keep talking about it. The case is moving on to the appeal court, and I'm sure that the integrity of this technology is also going to be talked about at the court. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. You can watch a repeat broadcast at 6 a.m. tomorrow and follow us on our social media handles. Remember to use the hashtag TVC Countdown 2023. Thanks for staying tuned.